Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Divine, and today we're going to be looking at some new information that was actually data mined from the closed beta of New World. Now, this includes some weapons and also some new zones as well. But take this with a grain of salt, guys. These could be just placeholder files, these could be actually put in the game when the game comes out. We don't actually know, but without further ado, let's just jump right in and see what we have. Alright, so for the first item up on our list is actually going to be a torch. Now, a torch I don't see used as a weapon, most likely going to be some sort of quest item or aesthetic that you can hold on to. I could totally see it for like a quest where you have to go light the torches. In like a typical MMO game, I feel like there's always that quest. Go light these shrines or torches or something to open up the secret room, and I feel like it could work in this game. Honestly, I don't see it being used much for a light at all because the game, while being dark, I don't think is dark enough that would require some sort of light source to see anything. But you never know. Maybe there's a new cave they add or some sort of dungeon or something like that where it's so dark you have to have your torch out. But then, alright, so next up is going to be one-handed melee weapons. Now, we have two weapons in this section, which are going to be a dagger and a mace. Now, the daggers I could see being pretty cool to be added to the game, maybe whether it's dual wield or just a single dagger. I think the dual wield would be the coolest of the two. Just, maybe get some backstab attacks or something like that that give you kind of a bonus damage and, just like a high DPS kind of weapon. And then you have the mace. Now, the mace I think's been around for some time now. And this might have been actually added in a pre-alpha build. I did not play those pre-alphas, so I'm not quite sure, but I just know the mace has been in the game files for quite some time. We actually have some data mined pictures here above, and I mean, they look pretty cool. I don't know if you would be allowed to use a shield with these, but that could also be another kind of tank weapon, which could be cool to see and utilize in the game. Alright, so moving on right into our next section, we're going into the two-handed melee weapons, where we have three new items here, which are going to be the War Club, Polearm, and Longsword. Now, what these abilities might do, I have a feeling they're going to be similar to kind of some of the weapons that we already have. Mostly probably a lot of crowd control and AoE spam that you can kind of do to a lot of monsters in a larger area, which could be cool to see. But I feel like all three of these weapons sound pretty awesome. We do actually have some pictures of the war clubs, though, and from the pictures, I feel like they look pretty cool. I could totally see these in the game as well. Be cool to just run around with a big club and just thunk things on the head, but only time will tell on that. And continuing on, now we have our ranged weapons. Now, the one thing that was added in this data mined list is going to be pistols. Now, it does appear that there's one that says a crossbow variant, so whether or not we're going to get different, pistols and crossbows, or if they're going to be kind of one of the same. So we're a little unsure on that, but from the pictures, again, they look pretty cool. Totally could see these in the game as well. It'd be nice to have, maybe a little bit faster firing weapons. I know the bow is pretty quick. The musket does take quite a long time, so we'll have to see what comes out of this. But like I said, from the pictures, they look really cool. Totally could see these in the game. I look forward to seeing a lot more weapons in the game too. Alright, and moving on to our last area of new weapons where we have the most information about is the magical section. Now, we have two new weapons in here, which are the Angry Earth Staff and a Void Gauntlet. Now, we don't know much about the Angry Earth Staff itself. It sounds like this could be more of a damaging kind of staff. Maybe due to like some sort of crowd control. Maybe we could have some like roots or something like that that could go out. Or maybe like a kind of wall that you could section off people, which would be kind of cool. But that leaves us lastly with the Void Gauntlet, which I actually have a good deal of information about. Alright, so let's go over some of these abilities that we have on the Void Gauntlet here, and the first one is going to be Void Blade. So this ability will summon a blade of void energy that converts your basic attacks to melee. So if you do a basic attack, you will do a quick slash that deals a percentage of weapon damage, or hold to perform a thrust attack that deals a percentage of weapon damage. Both attacks inflict disintegrate on successful hit, dealing a percentage of weapon damage per second and reducing damage absorption by a certain percentage and second for a certain duration. Now we don't know what these durations are or the percentage of critical damage, so we're just going to leave those kind of blank at this moment, but that attack actually sounds pretty cool. Alright, so moving on to our next ability, which is Punishing Chamber. So this summons a circle of void energy at your feet that deals a certain percentage of weapon damage per second to enemies and grants empower to friendlies, increasing their damage by a certain percentage in a certain radius for 8 seconds. Now this seems like a kind of cool little buff, but it'll be interesting to see how big of a radius this is going to have an effect for helping out your friendlies around you. Moving on to our third ability, which is Petrifying Scream. Unleash a void-infused scream, dealing a certain percentage of weapon damage and inflicting root to enemies 4 meters in front of you, disabling their movement for a certain amount of seconds. So we don't know the duration of this for the root, but it does sound like a kind of cool area, kind of crowd control ability that you can do to root people down. It would be kind of cool to see how long this duration will actually last for this ability. Alright, so for our last ability that we know about, it's called Void Aura. So, on successful ability hit, gain a stack of Void Essence. At 6 stacks, consume all stacks and gain a certain meter aura that self-heals friendlies for a certain percentage of weapon damage, deals a certain percentage weapon damage per second to enemies within all within that duration and meter of that aura, and there's an unsure amount of what the cooldown is. So that's kind of a cool ability. It would be interesting to see how big that aura is actually going to be. Do you have to be really close to enemies, or can it be a little bit further away? But it'll be nice to have some sort of ability that you can heal and damage at the same time. So unfortunately, guys, that's all I have for the weapons side of things. We do know a little bit about that Void Gauntlet, which is cool. We've seen some pictures of some of the other weapons that actually might get put into the game, and those seem pretty cool. As of all, I am kind of excited to see everything that I have listed currently put into the game. But let's move on to some possible new areas. Now, we don't know much about any of these areas. All we know is the names, and this could be old names. These could even be small towns that I'm not sure of that are already in the game. So if you guys know that, feel free to comment below, but let's go over that list really quick. Okay, up on the list here we have the Oasis, Coastal Flats, Shattered Foothills, Jagged Ridge, Ancient Rise, The Dead Zone, The Barren Waste, Searing Sands, Scorched Battlefield, and Windswept Highlands. Now, without knowing any more information about these areas that could possibly be added to the game, you can kind of take a mental note and look at the names and probably get a visual understanding of maybe what these kind of areas are going to look like if they are put into the game. So now that you guys know about these possible new zones, that's all the information that I have right now, and that's been kind of data mined. There are a little bit more information here and there, but if there's a good deal more that comes out, I will feel free to do a whole nother video on all that as well to keep you guys updated. But if you liked the video, feel free to like, comment, subscribe down below, and look out for future New World videos that I'll be putting out in the coming weeks.